The Knicks postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Tonight in Toronto, we're tied. Inside of a minute to go. Jalen Brunson, great feed. He had 11 assists. None bigger than that one at Karl-Anthony Towns. So Toronto's down 2. R.J. Barrett, who had 30, traded for OG Anunoby, and Anunoby says, get it out of here. So the Knicks get it back up 2, and Karl-Anthony Towns, who did it all tonight for 3, and that's your ball game. Knicks survive in Toronto, beating the Raptors 113-108. Great to have you with us, everyone, from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pidto along with Alan Hahn, Szczerbiak. So, guys, Wally, Knicks saved their best for last. Maybe not their best game of the year, but it's a win, and they won the crunch time minutes, closing the game on a 12-4 run.
That's why you have star players, all-star caliber players to close the game down the stretch. R.J. Barrett was phenomenal for 45 minutes, but down the stretch, you knew the Raptors were going to struggle, especially without Scotty Barnes, who's their point guard and facilitator out there on the floor to generate good shots and good offense. It's exactly what happened. Karl-Anthony Towns closed the door. Jalen Brunson closed the door. Mikal Bridges, we have to recognize how great he was tonight. Huge threes that he made when the Knicks needed some timely shots. This was one of his best games as a Knick.
The Knicks looked like they needed a battery pack, right? You could just feel like this game, like it just, every time they had a possession that was a positive one, there'd be another negative one, and the legs just did not look like they were there. But as Wally said, when you have star players, when you have a veteran team like this, you hang around in a game and you wait and say, all right, if we just stay in this thing, last 5 minutes we can take over. Like the last couple of plays we can take over if you let us stay in it. And that's what Toronto did, let them stay in it. And Karl-Anthony Towns, by the way, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals, did just about everything for this team. Rebounding factor was obviously huge for them. And remember the stat to watch? The Knicks, you get out-rebounded, they've lost. Out-rebounded 6 times, they've lost all 6 times. This is the first time this season they have been out-rebounded and still won the game. Did so because they made the big shots at the end.
Knicks in this game outboarded by 11. Wally, the biggest lead either team had was 11. So it was tight throughout. Take us through the last 12 minutes. Knicks won the fourth quarter by 8 points. And again, really important plays down the stretch, the key to the win.
Yeah, and it's a good thing Jalen Brunson came back in the lineup after tweaking that ankle because he made some big shots and big plays. This was a scramble possession where Josh Hart got that 3 to give the Knicks the 2-point lead at that point. And then Mogbo gets that bucket there. Back to the Raptors up by 1. Nice kick out. Karl-Anthony Towns knocks down that 3. Back and forth. Knicks take the lead. And this was a big play here. R.J. Barrett getting to his left hand, laying it up and in. He was really good. And R.J. Barrett's continuing to mature. This is a big 3, Davion Mitchell. You live with that 3. He's not a great 3-point shooter, but timely one there. Gives the Raptors that 3-point lead. I didn't see where the foul was there.
I think he got him on the arm.
Touched him somewhere, or the
Look
arm.
at him hold
But that's a big 4-point play.
Hold the pose.
Knicks take that 1-point lead. Mitchell, nice move there. Gets to the basket. Back to the Raptors. This was a swing it back and forth. These are the shots I mean by Mikal Bridges. He's camping out in those corners. He had 5 big threes to really help this Knicks team.
Up 2.
RJ in transition. I thought he got fouled there. Knicks got away with not getting an and 1. RJ's not happy with that one.
Love this play.
Yeah, this was the huge play. Tie game at 108. Great pass, great hands by Karl-Anthony Towns catching that one. Gives the Knicks the 2-point lead. And then Karl-Anthony Towns buying time for OG to come back into play and get that block. That was the key to that defensive possession. And then the big 3 here. No Jalen Brunson on the floor, which I thought was interesting. And there's the 3.
Give him the 3 to the dome, Cat. 3 to the dome.
And Jalen gets to celebrate New York, New York, all day long, Bill Pidto.
He let the crowd know about it for sure. You see the rebounding again right there. But look at the assists. You mentioned it, right? Another 30 assists performance.
12 games, guys, with at least 30 assists. Last year for the entire season,
10.
They had 10 games with at least 30 assists.
50% shooting, 40% from 3-point shooting. Again, the Knick offense continues to be, even though there were times in this game where the Knick offense did not look pretty. But it's amazing at the end of the game, when you look at the box score, there they are at 50 and 40. And the biggest issue they've been having is the last 2 games, they haven't made any free throws. Like, they've really struggled from the line. But like night after night, it just feels like they get to 50, they get to 40 from 3. And it's the defense that, I'm sure if you're Tom Thibodeau, if you can ever figure out this defense and get this defense on point, just where this team can go, that end of the floor has been the one thing that kind of holds them back.
Second straight game, the Knicks struggle at the line. Only 12 of 19 from the line tonight, and they struggled against Detroit the other night. Alan touched on it. Karl-Anthony Towns did it all tonight.
He did. And not having him in the lineup
score
was a big difference against Detroit. And you could see Detroit hurt he wasn't in the game, and they went after the Knicks, especially in the first quarter. But he just anchors that defense in so many important ways. And his shooting, like, it's just such a sweet stroke to watch him, light it up from deep. And, he had a tough matchup tonight, too, in Jakob Pidto, who played very well. Had a double-double in his own right, 10 points, 12 assists. But you need size in this league. You need a legitimate 7-footer. That's why the Knicks went out and got Karl-Anthony Towns. And I like the way the Knicks are now mixing up the way they're using him as a pick-and-pop big sometimes, and also sometimes rolling to the basket and getting those easy layups from Jalen Brunson. The passing was there. Early on, he was dropping dimes to guys like Bridges and Anunoby. That's the play where he stepped on a foot and still ended up finishing. When he gets a big man up at the top of the key, he can just slice and dice him and get to the basket. That's just a sweet stroke, the three, and here's the big play that gave the Knicks the lead that they would not relinquish. That hand, those hands for a 7-footer to go down there and get that ball was big. And there's Towns again knocking down the dagger and saying, this is my house, New York. Living it up there north of the border.
And he hasn't, as you
Take that L with you.
He mentioned to the guys he hasn't won in a while up in Toronto, so it meant something to him talking to people in the crowd. But I also love the fact, again, he and Carmelo Anthony have a relationship. And after making that three, that was the closer, that three. He did the three to the dome, like as an homage to Melo. But, again, not pretty, but they found a way to grind this thing out. And Karl-Anthony Towns, once again, fingerprints all over the box score.
All right, Monica McNutt in Toronto. Helped call the game on ESPN New York, the radio broadcast. Monica, as always, we appreciate your insight here. What do you think of the win?
Okay, I have a question because Tyler, Pat, and I, my radio team, we're going back and forth on this, y'all. So I need y'all's input. Was this a revenge game from our former friend and teammate, RJ Barrett, or was it standard to what he's been doing here at home this season as a Raptor? Mind you, his home splits are 28 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He put up 30 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. What do y'all say?
So I want to make this point, and Alan made the point off the air. They're down 2. He's got the ball, and Anunoby came up with the rejection. So
Great point.
And Anunoby's first game back in Toronto, in the game, playing in the game. So think about that also. It seemed to me...
But he outplayed Anunoby. Let's just keep it real.
What I was going to say is it seemed to me...
RJ Barrett completely outplayed
the game was on the line.
But the question was revenge game. And Monica...
Or standard.
Yeah, Monica, I think it's a little of both. And I'm telling you, the last minute or so, you saw him determined to want to win the game. So there was a revenge factor in there. Made a big layup to tie it, said something to the bench, and then tunnel vision on that last possession got bottled up, and obviously the Knicks made the defensive play. That's where I think the revenge factor came in when it was winning time.
So I will actually give you that, Hahn, because I said to Tyler early in the ball game that there was a familiar look in RJ Barrett's eyes. But ultimately, I'm with you in terms of the defense for this Knicks squad being able to stand up. And that you have to give credit to OG Anunoby. Down the stretch, and we kept talking about it on the radio broadcast, we knew that this offense was going to be fine. Although Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns hit huge threes. But it was like, okay, the defense has to create some separation. And it came quietly over that last 3 minutes where they managed to hold the Raptors to just 4 points. So ultimately, defense wins, and kudos to Barrett. He had a terrific game.
Monica, what are your thoughts on the pick and roll between Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson just closing it out this game and taking care of business?
The last shot, Wally, the last shot that Karl-Anthony Towns hit, sums it all up for me. And I thought there were other points. I want to say it was probably maybe 3 possessions prior to that 3. It might have been less, where Davion Mitchell was actually guarding. Yeah, when Davion Mitchell was guarding Karl-Anthony Towns at the top, and he found Jalen Brunson for what was the and one three-point play that also helped to create the momentum down the stretch for this team. I thought they did a terrific job. But we know that is one of the most formidable combinations in the league when you talk about pick and roll because of the ability of Karl-Anthony Towns to stretch the floor and Jalen Brunson to make reads. I will also add to that, the way that these guys can cut off of them adds even another layer to the space that the two of them can create.
Hey, Monica, we always talk about splits, right? Home and road, and who shoots well and who doesn't and all that stuff. And Mikal Bridges is coming off a great homestand for him personally, shooting the ball well, scoring over 20 a game. And he goes on the road, and you wonder, okay, let's see if this keeps up. Well, it certainly did. 5 of 8 from downtown, got over 20 points again, 23 points in this one, and made a big shot down the stretch certainly as well. What are you seeing from him that he is maybe starting to figure out offensively?
Well, I thought the release point looked good tonight just from where we were sitting courtside. But we actually asked him about this because I didn't want to guess. And it was Tyler's first question. And he said, my teammates. He's like, well, first he was disappointed that he missed the walk-up three-pointer that he didn't miss, or that he did miss. But he said, it's my teammates. They give me confidence. I know that I'm in the lab putting the time into my game that is necessary, but my teammates continue to give me confidence. To that end, though, Hahn, we also asked him about that stretch, that 3-minute stretch to close the game. And he said, guys, that this defense is so heavily dependent on this team communicating. He even added, we get along so well off the floor when we asked him about this being the healthiest version of the team that we've seen to this point this season. Of course, we're waiting on Mitchell Robinson. He's like, we get along so well off the floor that it's frustrating when we don't communicate the way that we know that we're capable of on the defensive end. And he said that's what you saw in the last 3 minutes, a team that was focused and communicating, and they did a great job of helping one another. So all of those things together, I think, give you the productivity of Mikal Bridges tonight on the road.
All right, Monica, do me a favor. Just turn around, and I need you when we're done here to go out there and show these people how to shoot a basketball. You were a great shooter at Georgetown. This is very difficult to watch. Like, I need you to get back there and start teach some
Monica,
Canadians
you
how to
lost
shoot
the
a
horse
basketball.
game when we played
You know
horse.
what, Pidto? First of all, I knew you was going to bring that up. Pidto, if you don't stop bringing up how I fared and talk about how you fared in that horse game, okay? let's redirect.
Well,
and I don't know about shooting these high heels.
I didn't get invited to that horse game.
Behind
Well, you know why you didn't get invited.
Behind you, there's some shooting going on that needs to be corrected, so please take care of this business for us.
My terrific stage director, Eddie, was going to save me from some bricks, I understand. So we're going to let these people have their fun.
Monica, just don't forget your passport on the way back.
Honestly, Tyler's going to make sure that I don't miss any buses. He's a great teammate. We've all grown.
All right. Have a great trip home. We'll see you soon. All right. Showed the graphic there when Monica was talking. Really important. Knicks now 8-1 after losses. And they're now
that's a great stat.
15-9 overall in the season. Tom Thibodeau's team gutting one out tonight across the border. We'll hear from the Knicks coach when we come back after this.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer today.
Quarterfinals of the Emirates NBA Cup Wednesday with the Hawks in town. A little bit earlier start time, 6:30 pregame, game at 7. Knicks beat the Raptors tonight by 5. Tom Thibodeau's postgame comments presented by Chase.
47 came up in the second half after 61 in the first. When did you see that change from your group?
Well, I thought the defense was good for the first quarter and a half. The last few minutes of the second half, our floor balance wasn't great, and then, but overall, I thought it was pretty good.
It's like one of those games where it's just grind it out, just find a way to win, especially making the big plays down the stretch.
Yeah, we had timely plays at the end. I thought OG, big time plays, Mikal timely buckets, Cat timely buckets, the block by OG at the end. Jalen, the big 3, 4-point play, those are timely plays. Just find a way to win. And, we got to continue to improve. There's a lot of things we need to work on. And the games keep coming. But the most important thing is just find a way to win.
You mentioned the play, but I think RJ, you guys know him obviously better than anybody, still kept getting that left hand, and OG finally gets him in the big spot.
Yeah, and he's always had that knack to he can start right and he comes back left, and and he's a good player. So guys like that you have to guard with your team. And defensively, we have to be tied together. I like how unselfish we are offensively, and I think the same mentality applies defensively. So when we're tied together, we're pretty good defensively. And I think we're, and I keep saying it. If you went and looked at our last 5 games, you see the numbers are very strong, and I think if you look at points allowed, we're 10th or 9th. Fast break points, we're top 5. Points in the paint, top 5. Second chance points, top 5. So there's a lot of good things that we're doing defensively too.
Coach, yeah, you are like kind of known as one of the most intense coaches in the NBA, and that reflects, for example, in nights like today, in tough wins like that. How do you find the right balance between being hard to the players at times, but at the same time keeping them happy?
I give them hugs every day. No, just I think you want the right players, and you want to be truthful. I think you build trust with the truth. And we've got a great group of guys to work with. So just be honest, and we want to understand why we either win or why we lose, and we always have the belief that we could do things better. So if we get everyone working together, good things are going to come from that. And then if we play as a team, it's a team game. So we want to have a 5-man offense, 5-man defense, and when you do that, I think it's enjoyable for everyone when everyone's participating in the team and sacrificing and putting the team first. So we've got a great character on our team.
Cat's layup, where you got fed from Brunson, did you design that play? Was that what you were looking for?
That play, most plays have 3 options on it, and so Jalen made a great read. They executed it extremely well. The game will tell you what to do. So if there's 2 on him, that means there's an advantage somewhere. And that's what I like about the way Jalen's playing. Jalen's making, it's another high assist night, at 32 assists for the team. He's 10-11 every night now, and he's creating a lot of good offense for us. So everyone shares in that responsibility of read the game and don't hold on to it too long. Like if you're open, I want you to shoot, but if you're not open, I don't want you to over dribble either. I want you to get off the ball, but just read what are they doing. And when you have players that play unselfishly and play for each other, you're going to get high percentage shots from that. And so even if you're running a play for somebody, it's not their shot. It's their job to make the right read, to create the right shot for the team. So if you can get great shots, your chances of winning are certainly enhanced.
There was the shot McHale hit in the corner. Cat made the extra pass.
Yeah.
He could have stepped into one, but kind of what you're talking about, this team seems to have a real great trust in one another.
Yeah.
How does that propel, once things get going more consistently defensively, just knowing that they have each other's
Well,
backs?
it's the same thing. I think, oftentimes, right now we're cutting really well. And that's an act of unselfishness. Oftentimes, there's no stat for how many times you cut or how many times you've driven the ball into the paint. But if everyone's moving and relocating, and then if you get to drive pass sequences, right, there's rhythm's going to come from that, and guys don't get stuck with the ball. If you pass and stand, that next guy is going to get stuck if the shot's not there. But if you pass and cut, then that guy can drive off the cutter's back. That creates another advantage. So just keep creating advantages for each other, and then you're going to get great shots from that.
How about OG Anunoby blocking R.J. Barrett down the stretch with Toronto trying to tie the game? Anunoby against his former team. Here he is with his post-game reaction.
Well, we have a great team, very talented top to bottom. I love it. We have a great team.
We were asking Tibbs earlier about how that trade changed the dynamic on this team. How do you feel it changed the Knicks?
I don't know. I think I just try to play hard. I think Preston's try to play hard and just impact the game the best we can.
OG, was tonight one of those nights where it's just a grinded out type of game where find a way to win for you guys?
No, definitely, yeah. The Raptors play hard. They move the ball well, and they're very aggressive. So definitely one of those nights.
Last season you were injured when the Knicks returned to Toronto. What did it mean to come back to Toronto and play tonight against your former team?
Come back and play. I played a lot of home games here, so it's weird being on the other side, but it was awesome to be back.
Go ahead. I would say RJ is so good at getting back to that left hand, and he was pretty successful today. You finally got him in that final minute. Is that something you're hunting all game long, kind of timing?
Just the personnel, who's in the game, where we're setting the screen, and just trying to be aggressive, pursue the ball.
Anunoby, key block on R.J. Barrett, giving the Knicks something to dance about. They're now 10-3 in their last 13 games. We're back after this. All right, guys, so next up for the Knicks, quarterfinals of the Emirates NBA Cup.
Big
Knicks and the Hawks
game.
Wednesday. The Knicks win, they go to Vegas for the semifinals, and that would be on Saturday.
Never mind that. Talking about $500,000 on the table for every player.
Right. That's big squid.
to win the cup.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Win the cup.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So keep winning.
How
Get
about
that
the
money.
Hawks? What do we think?
Hawks are playing well,
Very
but the
good.
Knicks got to take care of business. Been playing really good at home. I think the Knicks get that win.
Dyson Daniels, OG Anunoby, guys, you talk about defensive, all defensive type players. It's going to be a lot of, I think, when you talk about cuts and you talk about deflections and defense, you think this game was a little sloppy. That game Wednesday should be very interesting.
All right. Note the half-hour earlier start time. 6:30 pregame, game at 7, quarterfinal game, Knicks-Hawks in the Emirates NBA Cup. You can also stream our coverage on MSG Plus, now the Gotham Sports app.